Welcome everybody to Nine's Corner. I'm Nine. It's so nice to meet you, and if you're returning, welcome back, my dear friends. So, I'm sure, like myself, the energies have been really strong. There's a lot of pain, anguish, heartache. There's just a lot of misery in the world, and it's hard to take it in and just move on with your everyday when you know there's so much pain and suffering happening in the world. So for many of us who have very strong emotional feelings about everything in this world, this time is especially difficult and it's hard to ground yourself. So literally it is, I don't know if you can see the sky, it looks like it's going to rain or it's going to snow, one or the other, but I really had to get out and get on the path and go for a walk because I just had to ground myself. The dog is there. Sadie. Yes, darling. You're filthy. Oh my God. All right. Life happens, right? On my walk, I was reminded by energy, spirits, mom, dad, universe, whatever you want to call it. I was reminded of the parable of the Chinese farmer, and I thought, oh yeah, that's exactly what I needed to hear. It gave me comfort and some peace, and I want to share it with you, so I hope it gives you some comfort and some peace. Once upon a time, there was a Chinese farmer whose horse ran away. That evening, all the neighbors came around to commiserate. They said, "We are so sorry to hear your horse has run away. This is most unfortunate." The farmer said, "Maybe." The next day, the horse came back, bringing 7 wild horses with it. And in the evening, everybody came back and said, "Oh, isn't that lucky? What a great turn of events. You now have 8 horses." The farmer again said, "Maybe." The following day, his son tried to break one of those horses, and while riding it, he was thrown and broke his leg. The neighbor then said, "Oh dear, that's too bad," and the farmer responded, "Maybe." The next day, the conscription officers came around to conscript people into the army, and they rejected his son because he had a broken leg. Again, all the neighbors came around and said, "Isn't this great?" Again, he said, "Maybe." Funny thing about life, that if you treated it like a tarot card where nothing is all good or nothing is all bad, you would be, or at least that's my interpretation of the parable, that in good there is some bad, because if somebody is successful, that means somebody had to be unsuccessful, but yet that means that in the bad, even in the terrible, even in the insane of our reality of what's happening today, that something amazing, beautiful will come from it. We're never going to have this perfect life on Earth. Earth is all about learning lessons and teaching lessons. And it'll always have challenges because that's what we're here to be, challenged. And I think the secret is knowing the parable that nothing is all good or all bad. It's life. Let's get in and do a reading.
I'm going to do a reading about Kushner and Ivanka Trump. Does she go by Ivanka Trump Kushner or just Ivanka Trump? I guess it's her brand name. You might want to change that. Okay, so we know for years we have been saying that Ivanka and Jared will eventually turn on Trump. So I'm very interested to see, what did Jared Kushner talk about on his January 6th conversation, and then we'll look at Ivanka. I was surprised that one of the senators came out and said, they were really impressed that Kushner came of his own accord, that showed patriotism. So one, I was a little bit crushed that somebody would give him any kind of accolades or any kind of measure of goodwill because he's a snake. But then on the other hand, I thought, okay, if they're saying that, if she's saying this, maybe that's code for he's given us some really good information. Although he was out of town during January 6th, and we know we're not dumb, but he got out of Dodge because he didn't want to have anything to do with this. So I think he was willing to give breadcrumbs, you know what I mean? Because he's not directly involved. And let's face it, all the news that's coming out of it is saying that Ivanka was trying to get daddy to calm waters. So she's going to look like the unwilling martyr kind of thing, you know? Us just... So let's have a look at Jared Kushner, what happened during his January 6th meeting, and then we'll dive into Ivanka. So let's just set you up here. So what did Jared Kushner have to say during the January 6th conversation? So let's have a look. Strength. Oh, this is a little bit, there you go. Strength. So here we have Kushner, and he's in a position of strength. He has the ability to show something that has happened because he was able to keep himself out of it. I think we're going to find out that he was not wanting to be part of the January 6th insurrection. I would imagine that we're going to find out that, yeah, he purposely left during this time because he was so dead against it, which makes him, you know, gives him the appearance of having some morality, some sense. Going against it is, ooh, this is creating issues for him and Ivanka. I think Ivanka and him at the end of the day will choose them and their family over Trump. Because Trump is only, you know, his only goal in life is to take care of Trump. And I think they are aware of that. But I think this shows that maybe Jared's more willing to give a little bit more info. And hello, Jared has gotten the money, the power, prestige. He's gotten whatever connections he needed. He got his father pardoned. I mean, he's done well in this deed, and now he's ready to walk away. This could also signal some issues between him and Ivanka and their relationship. Underneath it all, he had to, this was a step too far for him. I think he did disagree with the January 6th insurrection. I don't think that he was part of trying to build it up. If anything, I think he'll come out as somebody who was trying to calm the waters. So I do think because this is a subject that's not affecting him per se, and puts the lights on to Trump and company, that this is something he's willing to have a discussion about. But don't forget, this is somebody who's, you know, he's got troubles. He's got issues. Hangman. Okay, right there, it shows you that during this time in the past, he had a different approach. He had a different thought of what this was. He did not agree. He did not go along with status quo. And I think he made sure he put paperwork, phone calls, knowledge to say, hey, I said no from the get-go, that nothing should be happening here. So I think because he's not going to be directly indicated in it in the sense that whatever he's done, he's going to be the one that said, hey, I don't agree with this. That's where I get the hangman. Sacrificing. Oh. On top of it, the Ace of Wands. He definitely put something. He put pen to paper. There's going to be memos or information or phone logs or things of that nature that he knows about that will support what he's saying. So he's basically got some ideas to what the DOJ and company have, and he was able, because he didn't agree with what happened, he was able to keep himself, and he got information to support himself. So there's definitely pre-planned here all over the place. He's looking at waiting for his ships to come in. So he's doing this to avoid having any kind of legal issues of his own. I think his back is up against the wall when it comes to this. I think that his position in the past, he knew that this would come back and he'd have to deal with it. So he took care of things. He put things in place. He put information in place, papers, phone calls, call logs, texts, all that kind of stuff is going to be shown in place. He's trying to hold on to what they have. He wants to hold on to the power, prestige, appreciate that these people are in their own little world, and that even within that world, the piranhas don't necessarily go after each other. So he just wants to hold on to what he's got. He does not want to get in trouble. He does not want to go to jail. He wants to secure him and his family. That's what's on his mind. The people, Knight of Swords. They asked him a lot of questions and specific questions because they had prior knowledge. I think this is going to help with the investigation against Trump. Yeah. Knight of Wands. So he wants to come out and give the appearance of, hey, I was not party to this. I didn't agree with it. I'm better than them. And I actually did things to say no to this. That's what he's hoping, that he's done enough to negate this situation, that he's kept himself out of trouble. The Sun. He definitely exposed some issues. He definitely gave merit and answers to some issues. I think that in his conversations and stuff, that because the Sun is literally here, I think Don Jr. might have gotten slammed. I think Don Jr. might, this is going to be like a prelude to who you're going to push the blame on. And I think Jared Kushner has highlighted Donald Jr. for some reason. I think that Jared Kushner, in his conversation, somehow laid blame or highlighted something about Donald Trump Jr. in this. Wow. All right. So let's collect these cards and have a look at how is Ivanka doing? What's her information? What did she tell the January 6th committee? Did it help? I just feel that she wouldn't have been as forthcoming as Jarrett, and that even showed in Jarrett's reading. So let's just see. Ivanka, well, how did your conversation with the January 6th committee go? Let's have a look. Ew. I think that with the Four of Swords coming out, that she told a little bit, but tried to keep as much as she could out. So she spoke. I definitely think she wasn't as forthright as what Jared Kushner was. I definitely think that more so than Jared, she is going to try to come off as though I'm a martyr. I tried to get Daddy to see light. I tried to get Daddy to, calm the waters, but he just wasn't listening. There may be some illness around her or somebody close to her that she'll be dealing with at this time as well. Crossing it, the Page of Cups. Here's, she was forced to have to spill the beans, tell a little bit, give some information because of her husband. The Page of Cups, he gave information, and I'm sure some of this had to do with money. Underneath it all, we have the Eight of Pentacles. She has looked at every side of this. She is going to give specific information. She's not going to tell more than she needs to tell. This hits very close to home for her. I don't think she realizes that even the smallest bit of information that she gives can give greater knowledge and information and understanding of the big picture. So in the past, ooh, Knight of Swords. Remember, she had a conversation with the committee or with some kind of something where they were like, she got called in and they had a discussion with her. Here we have the foundation in which she, like her husband, tried to martyrize themselves and say, hey, we tried to talk Dad down out of this. We tried to talk, really minimizing their take on it and really emphasizing Trump and or brother, because I think Donald Trump Jr. is going to get. You saw me mix those cards up really, really well. Here we have the Hangman. So I think in the past, she was given a little bit of information. She gave a little bit of information because that was what her and her husband planned. We knew this forever and a day. And here we have the Hangman. So Jared Kushner saw the situation differently and had conversations with his wife in which he said, I'm getting out of Dodge. I don't agree with what's going on here. I think this is a step too far. Now let's not give him too much credit. He got what he wanted. He got money. He got his father parked. There's all these things. And I can't imagine the deals. And we won't even go into Saudi Arabia or any of that kind of stuff. So I think he was able to talk to Ivanka. And that's why Ivanka is giving some of the small details that she thinks is insignificant. But she's doing it because her and Jared are on the same page about this. In the future, the Eight of Swords. She's going to be caught by the words that she has used. And this is a prison of her own making. I think that when this comes out, this will devastate the Trump family. It will devastate their brother. I really strongly feel like there's this detail to their conversations, putting some light onto Donald Trump Jr., maybe even Eric. But I feel like the words that she uses and what she does right now is creating a prison of her own making. It might, this literally could be her turning on her father. We knew it was coming, but the Queen of Cups. So here she is. And, do you see this cup is the only cup that has a cover on it? So when it comes to the January 6th committee conversation, she spoke because she knew her and Jared had this already pre-planned. She knew what Jared was going to say or have to say to keep themselves. But she's going to keep herself at a minimum. She's going to say what she has to. She's keeping her emotions at bay because, look, you can say what you want about Trump. You can say whatever you want about their relationship, how insignificant, how superficial, how maybe weird. But she hurts for her dad. She is more like Trump and closer to Trump than anybody gives her credit for being. It's like somehow her being referred to as his daughter and all that encompasses. Well, no, stop referring to her like that. She was part of the presidential group. She had a job. Jared Kushner was given peace to the Middle East, and he was going to do this and do that and take care of everything. So, they're getting away with being the daughter and son-in-law instead of being put in the position and being marked as the positions that they were. The people around are weighing out the situations. I think the people that are the ones, the DOJ, they're trying to push for them to give information, but they don't want to push too hard. And they're having to weigh out the information, like what they get from Ivanka to what they get to Jared, and how can they use that. And I'm sure that they're watching it in the sense of, okay, murder, Jared and Ivanka might have been against this, but on the other hand, they got all this bad stuff that they're a part of. So even though they might be coming forth and giving some information that could be helpful, you still got to give them a side eye. God, she wishes that she could go back to being Trump's little girl. I'm telling you, the sick relationship that's between father and daughter is so much sicker than what we realize. She, even though she's married, she got her own kids, and I'm sure she will side with Jarrett, and side, because that means siding with herself, keeping herself out of trouble, out of everything. Her emotions and stuff, she's being really hurt by this because she's truly loves her dad, and she wishes things could go back to the way they were when they were younger. Oh. This is the things that nightmares are made of. She's worried about all the things that she said and how they can implicate not just her father, but herself or Jared, or, this is like the start of the nightmare of having to atone for your part. And in this instant, I got a feeling that we go right back to the very beginning. And what do we have? Murder. Murder Ivanka. Interesting. Very interesting. It'll be interesting to see how this is going to be weighted out. And yes, I apologize. I move way too much. I actually had a subscriber email me going, hey, try this product because, obviously your back's hurting, and it's, it is, but it is, everybody has their thing that they have to deal with, and that's mine. So, all right, my lovely peoples. Whoop. Okay. There you go. The slap heard around the world. I don't know. Maybe that means something. All right. That's our reading on Jared and Ivanka. And as always, I have our Unity candle lit for each and every one of us. Please feel free to like, subscribe, share, and do all that good stuff that helps my channel. And until the next time we chat, cheerio. Take care, my friends.